What's up, fellow collectors? Welcome to Civilian Collectibles. My name is Seville, and today I've got another Storm Collectibles action figure review. As you can see, the topic of this video is the brand new Scorpion based on his appearance in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Now, if you can give me just a few more seconds, I'll have this figure out of its package. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment below. And if you want to see more from me, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Now that Scorpion is out of his package, I'm going to give him another full rotation on the spinner, that way you can see it all the way around. Just a quick note, I have heard some people were having difficulties with receiving pre-orders. However, I ordered mine from Amazon as soon as it was available for direct purchase. Now, let's take my usual up close all the way up and down both the front and back of the figure. As far as I can tell, at least 90% of this figure's sculpt is totally different from the previous Scorpion and other ninjas. The only parts that might still be the same are some of the joints and other connecting pieces. Now, before I get too much into the details, I do want to take a look at some older images that might not be quite so fresh on everyone's memory nowadays. This is a piece of concept art that landed in a lot of magazines and other publications around the time Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 and Mortal Kombat Trilogy was produced. As you can see here, Scorpion's mask was unique, but the rest of the suit matched the other ninjas. Then when it came to the gameplay imagery, the mask was the same as you see it on the figure now. And then the colored parts of the suit on the game were two squares and something close to a rectangle. But on the figure here, it's three even squares. So while it is close in concept, it's not really accurate. However, that doesn't stop it from still looking pretty awesome. On the previous ninjas, the colored vests were more of a rubbery latex type material, but here it's closer to a vinyl. That's why it looks so much more reflective. But then, the upper torso pectoral area is back to being that rubber material. Beyond that, the rest of the primary body is solid plastic. Below the waistline, everything else is pretty well video game accurate. The sculpted in detail, the hard plastic shin guards, and just the overall almost comic book superhero look, making it totally distinguishable from the MK2 style figures. And now, on the Scorpion's accessories, starting with his swappable hands. Of course, the base ones are the closed fist. Then next, we have the open grip style hands for holding weapons. The next set doesn't entirely match, as the fingers are in different positions. And then finally, you have the totally flattened out hands, which will be primarily used for throwing the spear. He also has an alternate almost skull face mask, which I don't really like at all. Storm was probably shooting for something similar to the select screen icon here, but even so, it still didn't really match that either. Instead, I wish they had gone for something similar to the concept art image I showed you earlier, because even if they were going for something similar to this bio screen image, it still didn't really match that. Plus, while putting this review together, I've since learned that Storm is also going to produce a new special edition version of this figure, where the head is more like a skull, and it kind of fits the mask better, but overall it's still pretty bad looking to me. So with that out of the way, now let's take a look at the axe, because it looks way cooler. He would use this in hand-to-hand combat during his combo sequences in the game. It does look really nice, the sculpt and paints are pretty much dead on, and the blood splatter effects are pretty cool too. Of course, the primary weapon Scorpion is known for is the rope spear. This piece looks like it was pulled straight out of the game and placed in this package. When I think of the old school versions of Scorpion's spear, this is exactly what I imagine in my mind. I personally don't think it could get any more accurate than this. To go along with the spear, there's some neat little blood effects that you can tack onto the end of it. There's a small one and a larger one. When using them in conjunction with another figure, it makes it look all the more impressive. Storm, including little accessories like these, has been a driving force behind them becoming my favorite brand. The way the blood effects were made with tiny holes in the center to hook onto, there's no reason why you couldn't add them to the axe as well. Finally, the last blood effect attaches to Scorpion's fist for an uppercut punch. And then of course, like all Storm figures that come before, Scorpion does include a small instruction sheet depicting exactly how all these accessories work. So now let's take a look at the scale. As you can see, the MK3 Scorpion is a little bit bigger than the MK2 Scorpion and Sub-Zero. It's definitely not like they just took the old MK2 bodies and slapped a new MK3 vest over it. In fact, not even the way the mask fit onto the faces is built the same way anymore. Instead of the one big notch in the center, it's two small notches on the side. So, if you happen to have wanted them to be interchangeable, that's not the case. Now, looking at them all from the side, you can see that the arms are a little bit bigger and a little bit bulkier. While this might be Storm's new sizing going forward, it does not match what came before it. And for those who may not have watched my previous video reviewing the Mortal Kombat 11 Sub-Zero by McFarlane Toys, it is just a tad bit taller than the MK3 Scorpion, but not so much so that it looks out of place. However, the difference between it and the MK2 Scorpion is a little bit more significant. Moving back to just Storm figures, here's the recently released Baraka, and now that I have the MK3 Scorpion, his size does make a little more sense. And just so you can see Scorpion next to the more unique characters, here's the much more massive Shao Kahn, and the much taller Goro. Articulation-wise, Scorpion didn't change all that much, so I'm just going to do a quick run-through of this section. Because of the way the neck is set up, it doesn't offer a lot of movement up and down, but it does have full rotation. The shoulders also have full rotation, as well as the butterfly joints for front to back movement, full rotation at the biceps, the double jointed elbows, and rotation at the wrist. The torso does have the ball joint in the upper half, as well as the tornado waist. However, the vest is a huge hindrance to any of that movement. While it can all be shifted around some, because of the way it's all put together, if you're not doing it quite right, it can get all out of whack and start to look off and not be fitting together properly. Moving down to the legs, those joints are just as impressive as you'd expect with Storm figures. Being able to kick sideways, almost straight up and down, and entirely balanced by itself. And the same goes for kicking forwards as well. In fact, the hip joints twist a little more in this figure than I'm used to Storm figures doing so, to the point that one leg is going almost entirely sideways. Then of course it has the double jointed knees that fold really well, the ankle joints with full pivot motion, and finally the toe joints, all of which can be moved around without the figure losing balance. I'm not helping hold it up at all. So, with all that said, it's time to run this Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 Scorpion figure through my guidelines for a complete and fair review. It does use a brand new sculpt that is highly detailed, but not entirely accurate. It does have more than 20 points of articulation and balances incredibly well, but unfortunately, it's not quite in scale with the previous Storm Ninjas. Scorpion did include plenty of accessories. I didn't have any quality control issues. The roughly $70 price point does seem fair for the Storm line, and even though it won't be found in very many brick and mortar stores, it is easily accessible through online stores like Amazon, leading to an 8 out of 10 star rating, meaning it is excellent and a must own for all fans. So whether you've been with the Storm Mortal Kombat line from the very beginning, or you missed out on the original Scorpion figure, this one is absolutely still worth adding to your collection. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like this video,
get over here!
And subscribe to Civilian Collectibles.